Good morning, darling. As I grab my bra, what do I not like it matters if it hanging on the door. There's all these things that I think that should matter, but they fucking don't. Just been thinking a lot about authenticity and what it means to like be self, and be accountable, and all of that good stuff. So I've had some like kind of interesting like interactions, and I read something the other day. It's like, everybody might say something to you, but there's like a space of like trusting energy. I have to tell you about this experience that I had like the other night too. Like, I just talked to some of my girlfriends about it, and like when like there's this sense of just like knowing like this greater like spirit within space, and their spirit just being like, you need to get the fuck out of here, and I don't care how it is that I have to tell you how to do that. I really had one of those moments on Monday night, so I'll have to tell you about that. That being said, I hope that everything is good with you. Let's find a time to like jump on a phone call. I know that there's a lot going on with COVID and it just being heavy right now. So I hope that these are helping, for you to be able to find some space to breathe and release at the end of the day, or before you start your days. So that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. We'll ground down through our sit bones. I'll see if I'll take it back a little bit today, so I'm not like popping up with my head like in the middle of the camera. A shirt per my mother a while ago, like something that I would never buy for myself, but I'm glad that my mom like thinks of me in that light. Moms, they're your biggest fans. With that being said, grounding down through our sit bones and letting the crown of our head ascend up to the sky, coming into our breath. So last night was the full moon, so I thought that we'd do a little kind of full moonish, moon flow and stuff today. So I went to a really great class by Chelsea Maxon last night, and she was just focusing on kind of like the theme around fullness. So as we're breathing, and just kind of riffing off of her, as we're breathing, thinking about like that capacity, right? She made a really beautiful point. She said that, thinking about as you inhale in and holding your breath at the top and holding yourself in that full capacity, and then exhaling and holding yourself in that space of sheer emptiness, right? And she said that we oftentimes are more comfortable with either of the or. And so maybe thinking about bringing ourselves into this space of balance, right? Where we're comfortable in this space of fullness, right? When there's also that point where it can be too much, right? And we have to finally let go and release. And then also in that space of sitting in empty, and at what point do you need to start to bring things back in, right? So full moons, thinking about it from that space and that ebb and flow of manifesting and letting go, and manifesting and letting go. So, and not speaking from a space of wisdom, speaking from a space of learning. So, yeah, always consistently learning. So, that being said, we ground down. Crown of the head lifts up to the sky. And finding our breath. Nice deep inhale. Holding at the top. And exhale. Coming all the way to the end of the breath and holding at the bottom before you inhale again. Hold and exhale. Hold. 2 more. Inhale. Hold. And exhale. One more time. Inhale. Hold. And exhale. Hold. Inhale, normal breath. And exhale. Bring our minds and our thoughts into a space of gratitude. Give gratitude for the moon and the divine feminine as we lean a little bit heavier into it in our lives. It's the majority of the time we've just been searching for the sun. Give gratitude for the sun, not letting it be forgotten in the sheer brilliance of the moon, right? Understanding its importance and the balance in our process of growth. Give gratitude for this earth and our constant reminder that we live in a space where everything and anything is possible. There's no time frame on things. The time frames are set, I think, sometimes to strap us into actual progress that can be made, where things seem so far away. And the only thing that's really real is the distance, the stretch. We give gratitude for Indigenous people. So here the Salish, Kootenai, and the Blackfeet tribe. Indigenous wisdom, understanding and acknowledging the collective of all things as we've been taught will be and have always been what bring us together in a space of love. It's not by mark of individualism or someone being better or the best. The understanding that everything feeds into one larger thing. And when one thing, person, or place changes, the whole ecosystem shifts. And understanding that we're not the only things that are changing. And being humbled within that. Give gratitude for this practice of yoga. For Black and brown people as the original creators of this practice, who sustained it in a place of love, truth, a place of generosity, giving and growth. We give gratitude for ourselves, for our bodies, acknowledging that they are part of Earth. So as we cherish the Earth, we also cherish the bodies that are of it, which is all of us. Understanding that everyone carries their own trauma and the weight of this world. So we approach everyone from a kind and sincere and loving space. And that starts with ourselves. If there's a person or persons, place or places that you want to dedicate your practice to, send a call in order for protection of. To give a little bit more love, or some blessings, and or just send it back to the larger creator. Because as we know, even love needs tending to. Nice deep inhale. And exhale. Check in with your body and how you're feeling. And slowly blink open your eyes. Come back into the room and into the space. Acknowledge any detailing that maybe you haven't noticed before. And slowly turn and look out past your left shoulder. Move yourself back through center line. And slowly turn and look out past your right. Slowly move back to center. Tilt your chin up to the sky and stretch out through the front part of your neck and jawline. Nice deep inhale. Exhale, hold. Again, big inhale. And exhale, slowly tilt the chin back down to center as you draw the chin down towards the chest. Roll the shoulder blades down the back. Move nice and slow. Nice deep inhale. And exhale. One more time, big inhale. And then exhale, slowly tilt the chin back to center line. Take that left hand, place it on the right knee. This is going to be a little bit longer one because that meditation was a little bit longer. So hand to knee, sweep that hand back behind you and look back behind you. And slowly bring yourself back to center. Same thing on that opposite side. Turn and twist. And then exhale, we bring ourselves back to center. Inhale, arms come up high. Exhale, pull the hands down to center line. Come back to your space in your practice of the things that you've been looking to manifest for yourself in these past couple of weeks. And then on this waning phase of the moon, thinking about what it is that you're going to be releasing. Understand that action must be attached to it. Things don't just slowly kind of fall away, right? Sometimes the harvest has to happen by our hand, understanding that we only take that which is given to us, right? And we leave things for folks as we move and shift into this new space for ourselves. Go ahead and rock forward over the knees. And then press yourself right back into a child's pose. Take the hands out in front of you. Lengthen through the spine. Big inhale here. Maybe shift to the top of one hip. Pull back through the hip. Check in with the top of the thigh. Think about relaxing and releasing into the posture. And slowly shift to that opposite side. Lay yourself over the top of that opposite. Pull back through your hip. Big inhale. And slowly come back to center. Walk your hands back towards your knees. Pull your knees into your midline in alignment with the hips. And then inhale, we sweep ourselves high. Hands come into prayer. Pull up and out of the waistline and then pull down through the elbows as you take the sit bones down. Engage the low belly to keep the low back protected, and then elbows come down. Hands come back behind the head. Nice deep inhale. Exhale, place the hands down on the mat. We're gonna shift ourselves forward, keeping our belly low and our hips high as we pull ourselves up. And then exhale, shift back. Shift back and forth through the hips. And then walk the hands back towards you. Lift yourself back up onto your knees. Inhale, arms come high. Hands come back into your prayer. Put my hair up. And then exhale, you pull down through the elbows, right? Same thing that we did last time on voice command right now. Right, pull down. Hands come back behind the head. Exhale, hands plant. And then inhale. We draw ourselves forward and pull ourselves up. Breathe here and flip the toes. Press to the knees, engage the low belly, and pop your hips high into down dog. Nice deep inhale. Pedal out through the heels, check in with the feet. Hands are nice and wide. And then go ahead and spot right in between the thumbs. Step, step. Feet come up to meet hands. Inhale, hands to shins, flat back. Hold here. Exhale, come down and over the tops of the thighs. And then inhale. We pull ourselves all the way back up to stand. And then exhale. Moon salute, hands move to your third eye. Look up into the hands and then hands come down. So you're gonna turn lengthwise on your mat, okay? So we can kind of step out into length. So this, as if this were actually, this will be easier to see. Actually roll the mat out, not to confuse anybody. Okay. So you're gonna be at the top of your mat here. Inhale, arms come high. Interlock the fingers, pull up and out of the waist, and you're gonna pull yourself over to the right hand side first. Big inhale here. Take the right armpit towards the front of the room and the left hip. You can release your right hand and let it come down to the side as you pull. Big inhale. Exhale. Move yourself back to center. Inhale up. Exhale, pull yourself over to that opposite side. Big inhale. Exhale, release. Pull with the fingertips. Big inhale. And then exhale, pull yourself back up. Pull up and out of the waist. Tuck your tailbone. Right? Try not to jet out in the butt. So tuck your tail. Keep a mini bend in the knees. And pull up through the heart. Big inhale. Exhale, hold. One more time. Big inhale. And then exhale. Moon salute. Hands come down to your third eye. Hands move down to your heart line. You're going to come on to the ball of that left foot and step it back behind you. High crescent lunge. Big inhale. Check in with your hips. Exhale. Drop your back heel and press down. Open up into your warrior two. Big inhale here. Pull that right knee towards your right baby toe. Ankle is stacked, or knee is stacked over the ankle. Big inhale, and then straighten through the front leg, right? Keeping a little mini micro bend in the knee. Hinge the hips back as you come into your triangle. Hand comes to shin, opposite hand comes up to the sky. Big inhale here. Exhale, put a bend in your front knee and take the hand down to the inside of the foot. Left hand up to the sky. Big inhale. And then exhale, turn the torso back down to the mat and pivot on the heel. So the toe turns towards the corner of the mat, and you're gonna pop your opposite toes up. Making sure that that knee doesn't come too far beyond the toes, right? So sitting down through your sit bones in this one. Nice deep inhale. And then shift through your center line. Same thing over on that opposite side. You're gonna flip the toes up. Nice deep inhale, sit. And again, you can use your hands, or you can keep your hands here. Trying not to, again, hyperextend the knee. And then hands plant. You're gonna pivot on that back, which was just your front heel, and turn that foot to a 45-degree angle, and turn towards the back of the mat, coming into that low side angle pose. So arm can be up. That front knee, what is now your front knee, is bent, right? Nice deep inhale. And then slowly pull yourself back up. Straighten through the leg, hinge at the hip, right? Open up through the hips, and then hand comes down to shin. Opposite hand comes up to the sky. Big inhale here. And slowly pull yourself back up to center line. Turn your toes out. Star pose, inhale, arms high. Exhale, squat. Inhale, high. Exhale, squat. Two more. Inhale, high. Exhale, squat. And then inhale, high. Exhale, squat. Hands come down to the inside of the thighs. Press the legs away from each other. Pull up through the heart a little bit. Maybe you adjust your heels. And then drop down through that left shoulder or that right shoulder. And slowly move back through center line. Same thing on that opposite side. And then you slowly lift yourself back to center. Inhale high. Turn your toes on nice and straight. And step what was now, or was that back foot, back to the front of your mat. Inhale high, arms high. Exhale, pull yourself over to what would be your left-hand side, right? Not marrying you here. Inhale back to center line. And then slowly pull yourself over to that opposite side. And then back to center, moon salute. Hands come down towards your third eye. And then we slowly pull ourselves back down to center line. So we're gonna do the same thing with that opposite leg. You can stay at the top of your mat. I'm gonna just switch like positions over here so I can still face you as I'm coming through center line, okay? So inhale, arms high. Pull up and out of the waist. We lift ourselves over to the left-hand side first to start. Big inhale. Exhale, we pull ourselves back to center. Inhale up. And then exhale over. Inhale up. Exhale, tilt back, open up through the chest. Try not to squeeze the glutes, but tuck the tailbone. Big inhale. And then exhale, hands move down to third eye. And then hands move back down to heart line. We're gonna step back with our right foot this time. So opposite foot forward and back. And last time, high crescent lunge first to start. And then drop your back heel and turn and twist into your warrior two. Big inhale. So warrior two, think about keeping your tailbone tucked, right? Not jutting forward or back with the hips, but tucking your tail. And then thinking about sending that knee towards that baby toe and grounding down through that back leg. And then straighten out through that front knee. Hinge at the hip, hand to shin, opposite arm up to the sky. Nice deep inhale. Exhale. Put a bend in that, what is now that front knee, right? Nice deep inhale. That left hand can come down to the inside of the foot. It can also come to a block. You can also stay here and you're gonna reach that right hand towards the front of the room. And slowly release. Hands come down to the inside of the foot and you're gonna pivot on that heel as you pop your toes up on that opposite side. Nice deep inhale. Exhale, point the toes and you shift through center line. Same thing on that opposite side. Toes pop up. Nice deep inhale, hold here. And then shift up and you're gonna pivot, turning that front foot on straight. That back foot, or what is now your back foot, is at that 45-degree angle. And then side angle here. Rolling open through the chest. You can also hang out here. Big inhale. And slowly shift yourself back up. Triangle pose. Shift at the hips, hand to shin, opposite hand up to the sky. Big inhale. Think about stacking your shoulders and rolling open through the chest. And slowly pull yourself back to center. Pivot your heel on your right heel. Turn your toes out. Right, inhale, arms high. Exhale, squat. Inhale high. Exhale, squat. Two more, inhale high. Exhale, squat. Inhale high. Exhale, squat. Maybe adjust here. Hands come to the inside of the thighs. Press them open. And then drop down through that left shoulder or right shoulder. Look out past that opposite. Swing yourself back through center. Same thing on that opposite side. And then back to center line. Ground down through the feet. Inhale up. Turn your feet out nice and straight. Step that foot back to meet that opposite foot at the top of the mat. Big inhale. Hands interlace, maybe the opposite grip. You pull yourself over what would be to your left. And then bring yourself back through center. Inhale up. And over to your right. Inhale up. Inhale, lift. Tuck that tailbone, ground down through the feet. Don't collapse on the tail though, right? Your hips are kind of soft and supple on the side here. And then you slowly moon salute. Lift through the heart. Hands come down to your third eye. And then exhale. Turn back towards the front of the mat. Inhale, arms high. Exhale, down and over. Inhale, hands to shins. Exhale. Hands plant, step back into plank. Big inhale. Drop down to the knees, take the knees wide. Press back into your child's pose. Big inhale here. Third eye presses down into the mat as you creep the hands out in front of you. Exhale. Come back to what it is that you're manifesting. Come back to what it is that you're letting go. And slowly walk yourself back towards your knees. Shift over onto your seat. Take your legs out in front of you and come all the way down onto your back. Pull that right knee up and towards your right armpit. Nice deep inhale. Exhale. Take that left hand, the outside of the knee, right hand comes wide, turn and twist. Look over that right palm. Round down through your shoulder blades and then slowly shift back to center. Swap out those legs. Interlock the fingers around the front part of the shin. Pull the knee down towards that armpit. Take that right hand to the outside of the left knee and let that knee and leg shift over. Relaxing your spine as you look out past your left fingertips. Breathe into your twist. And slowly bring yourself back to center. Pull both knees up into the chest and grab onto the outsides of the feet. Happy baby. Pull yourself back and forth here. Checking in with any sensation in the hips. Breathe into that space. Maybe you shift fast. Maybe you shift slow. And slowly take the soles of the feet together and let the edges of the feet just come down towards the mat. Hands come down to the sides. Maybe you pull your look back out from underneath you. Maybe you take the hands to the belly, coming back into your breath. Finding your heart and your soul beat. Paying attention if they are in rhythm with one another, or if one beats before the other. I don't think that there's a right or wrong. Then press through the soles of the feet, flex the feet, and take the heels and the feet all the way down to the end of the mat. Arms come out to your sides. They can also stay on your belly, or you can take one hand to the heart and one hand to the belly. Coming into your Shavasana. Checking in on what it is that we are manifesting again for ourselves. I like to think for the breadth of the world, right? What is it that we are letting go of? What is it that we are giving back? Staying with our breath here. Like this is our card, girl. Circle of eternal joy. timelessness dance of life. The dove of spirit, and mind you that pigeons are just gray doves. I don't care what anybody says, they are. So if you don't got a whole lot of pigeon or doves around, but there's pigeons, take it as a good sign. The dove of spirit brings a blissful feeling of anticipation to the priestess of the dance. Fair faces outward in front of a portal that leads to the energetic realm. This mystical vortex is a place of power where intentions and vibrations reach from the long distance past into the infinite future. The dove is a symbol of eternal spirit, a divine consciousness that moves freely through time and space. Our soul is of the same spiritual nature, and our energy spirals through time, engaged in the dance of repetition and rebirth. Each turn of the dance, each life and every day bring opportunities for joy, and your present joy spins blissful intentions into the fabric of the future. So remember that your soul has come to experience both happiness and self-mastery. Learn what there is to learn, but never forget to let your spirit soar. This card brings profoundly encouraging guidance. Your life is eternal and you are always connected to the bliss of your spiritual perspective. No matter what you may be going through, know that you can still find happiness, purpose, and understanding in the dance that is your current life. There may be a literal message to dance more, perhaps to take dance classes and to find joy in movement and music. And there also might be a party coming up, or maybe even a wedding for someone you know. So remember to find your bliss in the little moments and let yourself dance, laugh, sing, and enjoy. I live in a vortex of joyous energy, is what we say to ourselves. And I listen to the beautiful music of mine and our lives and dance to my soul's sweet songs. So, dear Jane, on this full moon and in this energy, I hope that you find some time to just put on some music and to dance. Malia likes to say, dance party of one, right? And, you know, I think coming back to that space of being able to enjoy the movement of ourselves and in our own lives, and then how it is that we move with others. And so I know that right now, just being caretakers, all of us in many capacity, right? And understanding the grief that is also tied to caretaking space in a space of loss. And just remembering that there is joy in that too. I think that is what New Orleans taught me. You know, in death there still is joy. Because it is the beginning of something new. Something that's not necessarily known to us, right? But acknowledging the sadness of it as well. So, with that said, this is a long one today. So, I hope that you find some joy in this space, and again, find that opportunity to maybe even release some of the grief in dance and movement. You can stay where you're at on the mat, or you can always come and pull yourself up to a simple seat. Whatever it is that you find best. Rooting back into ourselves and our energy. Our hands can come to our heart. We can also sit down on our knees. The divine light, the divine feminine, the divine masculine And the divine love in me sees, honors, and reflects the divine light, the divine feminine, the divine masculine, and the divine love in the collective we, in all of us. Thank you for always sharing your practice with me and consistently bringing joy into my life and into the lives of the people within yours. And to that I say, go in peace and serve love always. Thanks so much. Love you.